Coming from the Truspace, we ain't entertaining neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner.
Guys, this is Harris. Welcome back to Truspace.
Yep, and this is our weekly horoscope. So let's get into these energies. Looking at Monday, September 5th, the moon is in Capricorn, squaring Mercury in Libra, and Chiron and Jupiter in Aries. How do you think that energy is going to
So
go
there's
on?
going to be a heavy tension between how you feel, what you're thinking about, and what you need to expand and heal. Because what you're feeling right now is Capricorn. You're feeling your business, your status. You're going to put your emotion behind. You're going to dry yourself a little bit and be ready to initiate that aggressive approach to keep going since the beginning of the winter season. This is what Capricorn season. Capricorn energy is so important to begin that winter season portion and eventually for us to survive in the fixed winter portion of Aquarius. But we're gonna have a lot of difficulty with obviously the square to Mercury, because Mercury right now wants to communicate about balance and harmony. And we know a lot of this energy happening right now with Uranus in Taurus, Pluto in Capricorn is destroying infrastructure. So we're trying to get our shit together. So a lot of us we don't have all this energy to communicate and perfect our social life. We're really working on practicality, what makes sense. So the moon in Capricorn is going to create a tension there. And then obviously Jupiter in Chiron is the call for expanding and learning about who you are, the individual. And Chiron and Jupiter there gives it a religious almost theme. But you're going to have to watch out about how you're going to approach it, because it deals with the fire element, which deal with spirituality, which is one of the first element we deal with, how we see ourselves. And then Capricorn has this very dry, cold nature. It could kill creativity. And then Jupiter, I think it falls or is debilitated in the Capricorn archetype. So they don't like to give meaning and reason to a lot of things. They just want to have a business plan and then initiate a status and then keep going, while Jupiter wants you to give meaning and reason to this vision and imagination, this image of yourself, so you could like really have this energy coming from your brain and nervous system to keep on going. But so you're gonna have to manage all this squares that's going on right now.
And yeah, hands down, and it's crazy. Like we were just talking about that concept, how true freedom requires a little bit of structure, requires a little bit of discipline for real freedom to come about. Otherwise, you'll just keep on expending yourself, and that's the dynamic between Saturn and Jupiter. Whereas Saturn reminds us that we need to expand, that we need to contain certain things or take away certain things, or pay attention and be conservative with certain things in order to preserve them. And then Jupiter teaches us about the expansion and how we can look further. So if the moon is in Capricorn, we're having this desire for more conservative emotions, for us to be, kind of build in our assets. So when Jupiter's telling us, especially Jupiter in Aries, is telling you to go jump off that ledge, it's telling you to go try that thing. This is the beginning of it. We don't know where it's gonna end. And then Moon and Capricorn is like, how much is that gonna cost? Moon and Capricorn is like, how much time is that gonna take up? Moon and Capricorn is like all. So definitely that square and creating that doubt in self belief. It's like, oh, I need to manage my resources, or I need to manage my emotions, really, because it's the moon in Capricorn, and how you emotionally feel about discipline, structure, and stuff like that. So you try to expand your knowledge and wisdom in yourself. That's the square is like, what about your resources? What about, do you even have the emotions to sustain? Do you even think that you can handle these emotions if you were to expand into that type of things? And it's really challenging you. That's an honest question too. Can you? Would you spread yourself too thin? Do you need to be a little bit more conservative with your feelings and emotions? And then the Mercury in Libra, it's like when you're being conservative and you're trying to, and Libra's like extending out a hand, giving first. How you gonna give first? That's why Capricorn Capricorn be looking at Libra like nigga, what? You just gave this nigga that shit? It's like, what are you doing? Capricorn can't even fathom that type of shit because it's trying to manage what it already has, and Libra just gave it out like it was nothing. So when you're trying to communicate these thoughts, we're balanced on that communicative level and organizing your mind. It's going to make you give a lot more, but your emotions is going to be pulling you into um, more of conservative, or you need to be managing. It's like, oh, hold on. You don't need to give that nigga two apples. It's like, nigga, you barely even have apples and shit like that. But maybe that two apples will lead to a better relationship, more honesty coming out. So it's really gonna create that a frustration on that level where your emotions really can be telling you, you know, what you need to be managed, or how to look at things, what type of status you need to uphold, when what you really need to do um, may be a challenge, you know. So you may be or a little bit too sensitive on this day, um, where things are coming and challenging you. But don't run away from those challenges, because it's literally spreading you thin, with Mercury and Libra having you think about others, Jupiter and Aries having you think about yourself, and then Moon and Capricorn having you think about yourself and how others interact. You know, it's like all of it kind of mixed in. So you'll definitely be pulled in all different directions on Monday for sure. And you're gonna have to learn how to manage that somehow, or peep the lessons that is being shown, and how to find an equilibrium, and how to balance your individual self. How you can expand and contract, or you can expand and maintain at the same time. You know, like there's a delicate balance that can be had with that you're gonna have to find with those alignments.
And it's something you can experience with your body, because your body has this capacity to expand with its tissue on a positive alkaline or a negative acidic, but also it needs to build a structure around that tissue expansion. This is why tissue expansion, like muscle growth, could be good, but a certain level or percentage of muscle growth could lead to certain destruction of the structure. This is why a lot of bodybuilders, people with big muscle, they end up with developing weaker bones, or developing weaker structure, because the Capricorn, it's actually the other way around. Capricorn, the structure needs to be strong enough to uphold the tissue expansion, but if the tissue expansion is bigger, is the Capricorn, the structure is gonna get destroyed, and this is what leads to like nitrogen food, because it leads into inflammation, and it eventually leads what the Capricorn, the bones and the skeleton system destruction.
Your bones get brittle and stuff like that. It starts taking nutrients from other places, and then you know you can't handle that. Then you're a brittle older person. You know, even though you looked good in the younger days. Hands down. See
And
that
like that's something you go
for
through
sh-
your entire life as a kid, expanding, contracting, expanding, and then structure.
literally, literally, for sure, for sure. And then the moon in Capricorn is also making a trine to Uranus and the North Node in
So
Taurus. I think that's
as
gonna
you're
be.
experiencing all these squares, which is creating learning opportunities for you to balance different parts of your life, even though it's hard. But you're giving all this energy from the cardinal energy to be aggressive about it. You just gotta learn how to manage it. And then you're having this trine to Uranus in Taurus. You're gonna learn how all this emotional energy dealing with business status, and really putting your emotional feelings behind, because you know Pluto in Capricorn is coming, and then you gotta transform. And you know, if you do the transformation ahead of time, you take power control of your feelings at that period of time. You create opportunity to know how to approach this Uranus in Taurus energy, because everybody around it doesn't know what's stable, what makes sense, what should I invest in. But if you're the individual who has the business plan, who was walking around, you could decide what is of value. You could decide at things of that nature. This is what you notice with companies, leaders, and CEO. In a sense, they create our values by seeing what we should value and things of that nature. So yeah.
Exactly. It's where you place your value that really controls the market. This is why the moon and Venus are probably going to be your number one focus is on that financial realm. Jupiter's in there too, but in terms of immediate effects, I feel like the moon and Venus, because they're talking about emotional exchanges, and this is what really runs that. So you're so right. Like that trine like you having the emotional connection to, especially with Capricorn, your status, the role that you're playing in the world. I for sure see with the changes and the opportunities that may be there at Uranus and Taurus, the new ideas, the new spark. You're kind of gonna reaffirm the role that you are in society or that you want to be in society, and kind of emotionally respond to that. So maybe it's gonna help you emotionally link to this new idea that's going to take you far, that you can build, that's going to help create stability, or you start caring about or valuing, structure in a way that helps you showcase your talents or better use your resources, that'll help you sustain, all of these changes and stuff like that. So definitely see how that trine exists. And then Mars in Gemini is making
in
it
conjunction with the moon.
in conjunction with Moon in
So you
Capricorn.
gotta definitely watch out
How do
for
you think that's gonna?
all this energy is being put into conversation and almost stretching ourselves thin when it comes to learning and gaining curiosity. Obviously, right now the moon is obviously in Capricorn, so it deals with business and status, and we're gonna learn how to bring these two together. Sometimes there's a misunderstanding between the structure, what's happening in the business, while what's happening in real time in the conversation. That's Gemini. So learning how to having the structure, but also know what's happening in the current moment in the conversation makes you really a powerful businessman. For example, the peace dealer has the moon in Capricorn, and then the sun in Gemini too. So you can see how
Gemini.
powerful that plays out itself. And then it might be difficult too, since Capricorn is making it very emotionally dry. So you don't give a fuck about these light-hearted conversation. But these light-hearted conversation, they have these key words of viewing certain things that could actually help you of dealing with things in business. This is why they go hands in hand, and you can't separate them whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. 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 For sure. That those ideas that just came out ultimately ended up leading to adding more structure, that ultimately adding to adding more resources that could be
Mm-hmm.
managed. And it's down. Mars in Gemini and Moon in Capricorn. It's kind of funny. Mars is kind of like Mars in Gemini. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so Mars is kind of looking at, Capricorn. Capricorn's like, what are you doing, Mars? Mars is trying to be passionate, kind of trying to communicate, trying to do all this other thing. He's trying to write shit down. He's trying to talk things out. And Capricorn's like Mars, what are you on? When you're over here, nigga, you wild and you try to take shit over. You try to do all this other type of shit. And then Mars and Gemini is looking at the moon and Capricorn. It's like, nigga, why you so sensitive? You was talking about, oh, you this, you that. Why you so um, in your feelings and emotions, which is funny, and it's an in conjunction, so it could be awkward. So I see how the awkward comes out with those relationships, because normally Mars is, you know is active, but now it's being active about an intellectual process or communicating, which it probably doesn't do that well. And then the Moon in Capricorn is trying to be serious about its emotions and shit like that. So definitely creating that the awkwardness where these two different aspects don't normally work or operate in this way, but now they're having to learn how to do it. And then Venus is now entering Virgo on Monday. How do you think this is gonna
So
hit?
right now, this is the time for us to take our love matter, what we appreciate, what we desire, what we've been indulging in for the last seasons in Leo, expressing our love matter, and then in Cancer, creating a home for our love matter. This is the time for us to get receipts, to practice these love matters. And Venus is debilitated here, and then Virgo's, it's hard for Virgo to see love because they analyze so much things within the current moment. It's hard to find love. It's almost like looking at the devil in the details, and then you can find what you appreciate, you can indulge in. This is how it plays out, and also in medical astrology, all the way to the point they have bad hormonal ability to digest certain things in their body, because hormones play a major part when it comes to the digestive system. And if you don't have a capacity of like preventing yourself from being too cold and dry. The earth element, Virgos are ruled by the earth element, but it's immutable, so it's a mutable earth element that keep constantly moving. Just look at the way your intestines play out, the way they continuously move. But then, if you don't have what was it called? Uh, uh, but if you don't have the good, if you don't know how to feel good about what you're thinking about, it's gonna lead to obviously digestive issues with Virgo. This is why it's important to, as you practice eating or like making your food, you practice almost like you wanna love your food or these type of things. Being too technical lead to actually digestive issues, which is kind of funny.
And that's a great way to allow yourself to be guided, like especially after, say, if your body's clean, like say you're coming off of a fast or something like that, you can really allow yourself to go off of feelings and emotions based off of the food that you're eating, in terms of, especially after a reset. That's what's going to let you know what it is. Oh, I go and eat that. Oh, it made me feel this. Now you know those feelings and emotions, and that physical response was due to those things that you had eaten. With that type of level of knowledge and that type of clarity, you'll develop your own diet system that is absolutely perfect for you. That's doing all this other stuff. But you get overwhelmed, or your system's not cleaned out like that. It's kind of, you won't be able to understand or appreciate or know the differences, or be able to separate
Yeah.
things, to be able to appreciate the things that do make you feel good, and be aware of the things that make you feel bad. Yeah,
Mm,
for
like,
sure. For sure, I see that.
like, yeah.
Really need to balance how we make sense out of things now with Venus moving into Virgo. Really need to balance how we analyze things. I bet this is
Yeah.
gonna bring up a lot of anxiety problems, or and worrying problems, and people, maybe you'll start making relationships or connecting with people, and y'all niggas worrying together,
Yeah,
y'all
yeah,
niggas overreacting
100%.
together, and shit like
Mars
that.
is in Gemini, and then Venus is in going to Virgo. Both of them are ruled by Mercury, and then I know Venus and Mars, they already real. They deal naturally with your nervous system, so they go to this intellectual science. They
Hmm.
get tweaked out mentally. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. It can play out in a positive realm of reality, where you make connections that actually make sense. You having friends around you, especially with Venus falling. Maybe these niggas have to be a little rough with you and not say the nice thing, and say the thing that makes the most sense, even though it's not what you want to hear, even though it's not pleasant and stuff like that, but it hits to the actual core of the matter. For sure. Where you start making relationships based off of that, where you guys can actually start making sense out of things together. They help you analyze the world and make sense out of the world, so that you don't exhaust your emotional energy in areas where they don't need to. I bet in this time you'll find some real friends, if you're looking and open to it. Otherwise, your other friends are just gonna, you can make relationships where y'all just worrying together, overreacting together, doing all of that different type of shit together, not realizing the effect that you're having on the other person either. So you definitely don't want to follow within that energy. Um, and that's Monday. Looking at Tuesday, the 6th of September, the moon is making a conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn. Um, how do you think this is going to hit us?
So obviously on Monday you're getting emotionally dried up to prepare for this major transformation, which take power and control of this major theme of what rules Capricorn, Saturn, time. This is why when you become a
Mm-hmm.
businessman, one of the major things you're buying back or you're taking power and control of is time. What do businessmen have that regular people don't have?
Yep.
Time. That's the most important thing that you realize later on life. So obviously, as you conjecting Pluto, you having this deep desire to take power control of these things. You can even see how that plays out in reality right now. We had something called the resignation, the Great Resignation, where people left to work so they could attempt to take power control of their energy, so the government or their companies could see, hey, we also are part of this larger corporation, we could take power control too, and things of that nature. So definitely depending on how well your plan was put together during the new moon in Virgo, and the social people you brought with, and then how you dealt with these things behind the scene, and then how did you ascend, and the meaning and reasons you gave to this plan and this new form of practicality. And then in Capricorn, this is your time to initiate that and see whether Pluto's gonna like that. Is he gonna allow it? If Pluto's not gonna give you that scary feeling, you feel confident that you're not as worried. But if you don't feel confident and then you're scared, you gonna know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. This is a great time for you to really emotionally invest yourself into that arena, controlling your time and how you're organized and structured within the world and reality. And you're gonna have an emotional response. You're right. You're either gonna feel passionate or intense about taking power and control over that in you, or you're gonna feel like that's imposed on you, you're gonna feel that resistance, or that your time is being taken away, that power control is being taken upon you, and you're having intense moments about that. So you don't want to be on that side of the spectrum. You want to be in the driver's seat of how these energies are being influenced or influencing you. So you want to, and maybe it's even showing you some emotions that you maybe even have to let go of. That is preventing you from having power and control in how you organize your world, and how you step within the arena, your status, and how you build things for yourself. Really letting you, showing you the your emotions. When Pluto comes, it's like really an intensifier. So whatever emotions you have, if you're too sensitive, too insecure, or you're emotionally valuing someone else's structure, someone else's view, or you're relying on their status and stuff, Pluto's gonna come and intensify that. So if you weren't in that driving position trying to change that stuff, it's going to intensify the opposite, and it make you feel like so much control is being taken over you.
Exactly.
And that's making a trine with Uranus and Taurus. So the instability, maybe that'll get to you. Everything's changing around you, so you feel like you have no choice but to be taking power and control over it. Or everything's around you, so now is the time for you to, get into your stuff, to take power and control over it, and use this as an opportunity so it can play out both ways.
And like if Pluto and the Moon conjuncting Pluto and Capricorn, man, if you could take power and control of that, and then hit that trine with Uranus and Taurus, and take control of all the lack of stability that's happening, you could be seen as this businessman who come up with this idea, who saves the world.
Yep, yep. That provides that solution, that adds to the more security. You came up with the new idea of managing money or something like that, and now the monetary system's not as flunked out, or now we have a better, stuff along those
And
lines.
that, and then you have to be now a part of the government, and that leads to your status, and now you're seen at the way you always want to be seen.
Mm-hmm. 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 Exactly. And it's funny because the sextiles is making a sextile with Neptune and Pisces. So there's this opportunity for dreaming and your imagination to really play a role in all of this. How do you think
Well,
that'll
there's a
hit?
heavy energy between all the generational planets. Your emotions is getting destroyed by Pluto and Capricorn, and then Uranus is destroying all the physical reality, and it needs you to create the new things. And then Neptune and Pisces retrograde is giving you all this ability to dream and give meaning and reason to think, and then to get lost or to create a new dream that you want to live in. But you gotta decide to manage all this energy. That's an enormous amount of energy. That's generational too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it bleeds out into not even just your personal relationships, but how you are influenced by everybody in general.
Like you're gonna definitely see the how the collective, you play part of the collective, and like vice versa.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then Mercury in Libra is making a sextile to Lilith in Leo while making an opposition to Jupiter in Aries. So Mercury is coming into an opposition to Jupiter in Aries, but Lilith in Leo is kind of helping it out with that sextile.
So Mercury and Libra is all.
How's that
Mercury
playing
is
out?
Libra is all about obviously initiating all these conversation and all these ways of connecting and creating harmony. But we don't want to initiate the air element to the point with that we're gonna kill this expansion we're creating within our brain and nervous system. Jupiter in Aries, we want to let that flame grow and grow. but that opposition makes it very hard. So we gotta learn how to give it the right amount of air so we don't kill the flame of Jupiter right now, which is kind of funny. It's an opposition, so learning how much communication, how much harmony that we need to add into this form of creativity that we need to expand in is gonna be like it's gonna be a major theme. Like learning how to bring this creativity or self-expression towards the social life, and Mercury is allowing us to develop all the words that we need coming out obviously from Virgo, since we got the receipts was practical and things of that nature, and obviously that sextile to Lilith and Leo is giving this ability to deal with these embarrassing moments, especially after we just went through Leo season, so we know how to deal with these things, and then we think about obviously harmony, balance, so we know how to handle Lilith and Leo, and obviously Lilith and Leo is getting this energy from Jupiter and Aries, so it's obviously very healing and things of that nature. You could expand these dark moments that you experienced as you're expressing yourself on the stage and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. And like it's really gonna be like a test of you thinking, how much is you thinking and talking and entertaining ideas about other people and your relationships, how much is that taken away on your own personal journey of self-discovery, and how to balance in between the two. And you'll really, whatever side of the spectrum you're on, you'll maybe experience frustration on that level or opposition due to you entertaining certain thoughts about other people maybe a little bit too much. Now you maybe signed an esoteric contract or being brung into a situation where you kind of have to not expand your individuality as stuff. Maybe it's even more restrictive, or maybe other people are starting to take that energy, or maybe you're too into expanding who you are and yourself, not allowing the conversations to take place of you thinking about other people, not understanding how they play hand in hand. Libra often plays the mirror. Libra is like helps you see that reflection of other people, and to have a better understanding of what's going on within you. Libra is that understanding that this person's me if I was in that
Libra
situation.
is like the social self-defense mechanism that keep the social like situation controlled, if you know what I'm saying, because cardinal air, and when
Yeah,
something gets out of
yeah,
control, so I'm about to separate that word or that conversation or that harmony, cools it down. It's
yeah,
like
for
watching
sure.
Libra energy on site is like one of the most interesting things you ever see,
Yeah,
because
for sure. Diffuse a whole
you would
situation.
call it fake, but it's a mechanism necessary to defend all of us. If anything, Libra are
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
protecting society.
Diplomacy. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Valuing balance over everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, a
Absolutely.
100%, yo. And look how they played out in history, because Libra energy play out big through the British Empire, where what you want to call Aries, the brain and nervous system, plays out very big when it comes to like the Eastern continent, Jewish society. I look how the Jews relationship with the British and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's how Tuesday's looking. Looking at Wednesday, the 7th, the moon is in Aquarius now, making a sextile to Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. How do you think that sextile when the moon in Aquarius is going to
So
hit?
right now, man, you feel um, you're ready to take action on whatever business plan that you were taking power control of while the moon was conjuncting in Pluto in Capricorn, and right now the moon is in Aquarius. So you're ready to stand up, develop your esoteric chin, so you can walk and talk about this business plan, this structure that you want to develop. But the sextile to Jupiter in Aries is providing you the energy based upon your original idea, this expansion that you creating on it, all this desire to be passionate about it. Now you could take it and then create opportunity with your associations. Now your associations could see all these things you're creative about, these things that you're expanding about, and they could appreciate it. Since Aquarius appreciate the individual, because the individual is what create Aquarius, the groups to join together.
Especially the test, like Aquarius is in the back being like, Aries, you know you can jump over that cliff, you'll be fine. And Aries is like, you know what? You know what? Maybe you will be. But Aquarius is just trying to collect the information. It doesn't really know, but it knows that Aries is gonna jump over that motherfucking ledge, and then Aries jumps, and then Aquarius, collects the information. Sees how it goes and all of that. I feel like Aquarius and Aries is ultimate instigator. Aries is just ready to go. Aries is ready to go. And Aquarius is like, comes up with the idea. He's like, what if you were to put your energy towards this? What if it were to go towards that? What if it were to go towards this? For sure. And you're gonna learn a lot since even the sun's in Virgo, so it's kind of making a little in conjunction too. So you're in this new space where you're trying to refine your efforts and pay attention on routines and patterns, but you're emotionally responding to your social world, to your social life, and all the associates that you have that are creating all of this different types of attachments and responsibilities. So I can see an opportunity coming up for you to understand or for you to expand your idea of self or your understanding of self because of this tension, because of this new area that you're being put in. You're kind of learning more about yourself by being put into these situations, by being in um the group of in that social. You're learning more about yourself by default, but you have to be aware of that. Otherwise, you're gonna be the Aries with the Aquarius telling you to go jump off the motherfucking cliffs just so they can see how it is. You don't want to be in that position. You want to understand how all of that's playing out. For sure. And then Mars in Gemini is making a trine to Mercury in Libra now, and a Moon in Aquarius, so an air trine. How is that
Man,
playing
so
out?
obviously you're thinking about your association and all these fixated ideas that deal with rebellion, and then you got Mercury making you think about balance and harmony, and then marriages, and then contract, even open enemies, and then you got Mars in Gemini getting you very passionate about throwing some jabs, learning and being curious. So you get all this access to the air element dealing with thoughts, ideas, being logical. You can either get lost in this and get lost in multiple ideas, or gather so much information from multiple angles, because having
Mm-hmm.
elemental trines, we don't have that all the time, so use that to your best ability.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of information that could be up there where maybe it might pull you into be more confused or pull you into the more of the social aspects and entangle you and maybe even confuse you with information coming from different sources attaining to different things. Depending on what side that you're on. But if you're planting good seeds and utilizing this earth energy, I mean this air energy in positive ways, it's going to be boatloads of information that you can utilize for yourself to better understand yourself. You're going to understand how to think more logically, how to communicate more logically, how to express your ideas more logically. Otherwise, you're expressing other people's ideas, or all of these other things are going on that doesn't really go back to you.
Hmm.
And that is Wednesday.
Heavy air energy.
Looking at Thursday, heavy air energy. All very cerebral on Wednesday. Mercury day.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thursday, September 8th, the moon is conjuncting Saturn in Aquarius now, while squaring Uranus in the North Node in Taurus. How do you think
So
this is
as you're
playing out?
emotionally reacting, being fixated on your association, there's a revolution that you want to create with these groups you've been connecting with based upon this business plan you guys share together. So right now, you guys are gonna have this major tension with Uranus and Taurus, because you obviously you guys have the group, the association, the ideas, the air element, but the ruler of the ruler of Aquarius, Uranus, Uranus and Taurus is debilitated. So it's trying to change all this infrastructure through remodeling the Earth element. But to remodel the Earth element through Uranus, it looks very chaotic and things flying around destructive. So the square is the tension that is needed for you to understand how to be emotionally logical enough to be confident to walk around all this lack of instability but find stability, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
This is learning to get comfortable with discipline, with structure, with all of that, because that's gonna help you in turn look at Uranus and North Node in the right way to handle the instability for sure. And this is you kind of confronting um, Saturn, discipline, authority coming against you with this type of conjunction, and you know what side you're on, because if you come with these boundaries and limitations and don't have a modem of appreciation or a modem of acceptance of those boundaries and restrictions in terms of, okay, this is my situation. I'm gonna go out and deal with this. Or maybe you're just like, oh my God, is this my situation? And you're emotionally reacting, but then you won't be able to handle that Saturnian Aquarian energy, and then the opinions and structure of the collective is gonna come crashing down on you and start really challenging your emotions, and then you'll find more of a frustration on you trying to make unique moves on that stability front, on you trying to claim resources and stuff like that, because you wouldn't accept the aspect of discipline, you wouldn't accept the aspect of the challenge, the emotional challenge too. And it may be something that's deep, or really something that's deeply uncomfortable, since we're talking about the moon making that reaction with Saturn. It may have to do something with your parents too, and what they want you to think or how they want you to associate. Since we're talking about moon and Saturn, and maybe your mom, maybe a little bit on the stricter side. That mom that's yelling at you and all of that type of shit. To associate in a specific way. Not understanding that the changes that is going on in society and how values are changing. You're gonna need to discipline yourself to attack this thing properly. So I feel like that's what that square is really going to challenge you to see if you can take this stuff serious.
The,
And then it's making.
there's
Hmm?
nothing more powerful than a tradition or a value that you could continuously progress on. That's something unbeatable. But holding
Yeah.
on to a value that you never progress on, that's just you utilizing Taurus energy, the ox, and then you never utilize Aquarius energy, real man energy, and things of that nature. So it is, you need to have a tradition, but you need to also have a progressive attitude about it, or you're gonna get stuck in the earth element.
Yeah, moving on to the moon and Saturn conjunction in Aquarius opposing Lilith and Ceres in Leo.
So right now, Lilith is going over Leo's. What we did in Leo right now is making us become. I feel like Lilith makes you hyper aware of how sensitive you are in whatever element or area of life it plays out in. And right now, since the moon is in Capricorn conjuncting Saturn, you feeling this, being part of this collectiveness, like you may not know how to understand these dark embarrassment moments, but since Aquarius energy deal with learning how to deal with your emotions, since the water bearer and things of that nature, learning with it, dealing with Leo is very primal energy. Like it's very hard to explain, since Leo and Lilith, it could be very dark form of expression, and then Moon and Aquarius, you wanna emotionally focus on logic, but it's kind of hard.
Hmm. For sure, where there's these deep feelings and emotions on you as an individual, when your emotions are kind of telling you to be a little bit more self-sacrificing, or to think about the collective, the group, and all of that. But then there's all of this emotional baggage that needs to be addressed on the personal level, that's coming into play on how you're interacting with that. But in the act of being too logical, and Saturn being there, so it's like, oop, it's like, oh shit, you have to be logical. There may be a whole bunch of other subconscious identity problems, confidence problems, creativity problems, maybe even some type of children, or how you entertain thing problems that could come in the way that you may not be necessarily looking at or giving serious enough consideration, that is in the mix and is affecting on how you are being social with other people. Sure. And then the Sun in Virgo is making in conjunction to Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. Um, and opposing Neptune and Juno and Pisces. Now, how do you think these alignments is
So
gonna
right
hit?
now, since we're in Virgo season, so we obviously were focusing on digesting and breaking down, aka harvesting all this with everything we've been developing since Aries season. And Jupiter in Aries obviously gives us all this energy to expand and really be aggressive about this vision and imagination. And the last thing that you want to do is start more form of passions and then desires, which is gonna prevent you from utilizing all those Virgo energy to digest and break down things so you can prepare yourself for the fall season. So you learn how to manage this in conjunction. You don't want to be processing new information that you did not been working on for a while. And then obviously you have the opposition to Neptune and then Juno and Pisces. You're gonna learn how to manage your dreams and illusion and imagination, not be so critical, harsh, realize what steps, routines, patterns, even how you could work on your own health to eventually reach your dreams and illusion and imaginations. Since a lot of people sometimes they don't reach their dreams and illusion because of their health, because it only takes a lot of energy to get to these things that's so far out. Like for example, Kanye West, right? He got to the position he is, but for him to maintain it, he may be interested in health and things of that nature because it's gonna help him to stay alive to live in what this dream is living in. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To handle all of the influences and the connections that he's making, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. For sure. And then Jupiter, Virgo, doesn't mess with Jupiter too much because Jupiter's trying to expand, and Virgo's like, nigga, relax. I have all of this shit to handle, to look at, to digest. Nigga, you trying to expand more, doing all of that? And Jupiter rules Pisces, so I feel like the in conjunction's kind of prepping it, or it's extra awkwardness, or it's extra, you know, um, challenge kind of coming into the Sun in Virgo of us trying to make sense out of things. But it's helping us see where the things end up to with the conjunction with Jupiter and Chiron and Aries, because it's showing us energy, or the area that exists after the Neptune and Pluto type energy. So as we're opposing Neptune and Pisces, trying to make sense out of our dreams and illusions and all of these non-physical, influential type things. But then the in conjunction in Jupiter showing us how this leads into the expansion of ourselves, and how we can bring more faith to our desires and how we create the world. So it may prompt our that Virgo energy in us to actually look at our subconscious desires and our imaginations, and actually try and make that attempt, instead of that escapism, instead of that worrying, instead of that prejudging and being critical of these imaginative things. It may push you to do the actual thing because you're being challenged in that area afterwards. So it's kind of like that is leading into something new. It's not like you're gonna be have this illusion that you're going to get stuck in that mental realm, and you won't be able to figure it out. It's kind of like you're being challenged to figure it out because you're being thrown a result of what's gonna happen after a little bit prematurely. So now you're like, okay, I have to make sense out of this now. I have to make sense out of this, or it's going to affect me as an individual. I have to make sense out of these influences because I know it's going to affect my individuality and how I expand myself and how I feel about myself and have faith in my own
Mm-hmm.
self. So definitely that challenge is being thrown on there on Thursday. And that is Thursday. Looking at Friday, September 9th, this is the beginning of the full moon in Pisces, making a square to Mars and Gemini. How do you think this is
So
going to
right
hit?
now we're gonna see the accumulation of the new routine pattern or broad-minded practicality that we came up with the new moon in Virgo, and then the relationship we connected with that plan, and then the deep vulnerabilities that we dive deep in to deal with, and then the ascension and the spirituality that we developed, and then the business plan and the aggression that we desired to deal with this world, and then us working with our association Aquarius. Right now, this is us time to connect with our dreams, illusions, imaginations, and see whether these things connect with what we've been analyzing so far with the sun going through Virgo season right now, and see whether or not these routines, patterns, practical point of views could lead us into our dreams and illusion and imagination. And this is powerful because the moon is in conjunct Neptune, and then this is gonna send you to a whole another dream, and you're gonna have to really. It's gonna be a battle between what's realistic and what's unrealistic, and then you gotta learn how to make what you want realistic, but also make sure that it's not too unrealistic. It's always this battle between
Mm-hmm.
dreaming but also being practical.
Hands down, hands down. I feel like a lot of people are practical about dreams, or we get so lost in la la land sometimes that we done created, you know, this practicality in our irrationality, if you get what I mean, or
Science.
where you lead to justifying all your flunked
We
outness,
were
you
talking
know.
about it
But
earlier with the science and how science is a belief system, and
yeah.
then how they just over justify with rationality and with data and things of that nature. So definitely, if it's at this deep,
Hmm. Yeah, fam. It's getting lost in the details the same way you got lost in the clouds. So you really have to be honest in how you're tackling that energy. But Mars and the square of Mars and Gemini, I bet it's going to be like, especially with full moon, the heightened emotions, the heightened in Pisces, the heightened influence of the feelings of everybody. There's going to be a real passion to communicate about these things, to talk, but there's a square. So it's like all of these influences and all of these subconscious aspects is going to be like, how do I speak about this? How do I bring this into words? And it's gonna, and depending on what side you're on, you know, maybe it could get you more passionate into being curious and investigating this realm of reality, directing your thoughts in this way, or it'll frustrate you and you'll be like, "Fuck, I don't want to talk," or "Fuck, you're not understanding me. You're wrong. Your ideas are wrong," and you know, blah 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 blah, and you start getting attacking and defensive with that type of energy. So you don't want to get into there with the square. But yeah, with the opposition, and especially Venus is in the mix too. With the Sun in Virgo, with Pisces, I feel like the Sun in Virgo, and this is testing all the seeds that we are planted from that new moon. On what routines do we need to incorporate on a day to day basis? What do we really need to be digesting? What do we really need to be making sense out of to make the most progress and sense out of our life, to have the most optimal harvest? If we haven't been approaching that Virgo energy in that honest way, and that analytical, real close down to earth aspect, then we won't even really realize the influences, the subconscious influences that we had built. Maybe we were doing the wrong routines and patterns in accordance to what we were supposed to do, and we incorporated some habits on a daily basis that were detrimental to us, aka worrying, aka being the devil in the details and shit like that. We don't realize that, and now we're gonna see the fruits of the subconscious aspects that those seeds have planted. And now there's these whole imaginations based off of you worrying. Now there's this whole imagination of what's going to play out and how it's going to happen. And it's a whole la la land that you have to get yourself out of, with not planting the right seeds in those areas. Or you being influenced to feel a whole bunch of different things by the world at large. This person feels this way, so you feel obligated to feel that way. Or all of these different things is pulling you away from your daily routine, or it's becoming a part of your daily routine. All of these influences, and it's shaping how your subconscious mind and how you make sense out of things. And all you're doing is building, making sense out of someone's la la land. All you're doing is analyzing a la la land, and then harvest comes, and you're not getting anything out of that harvest. So this full moon is really going to be a testament, and even if you're playing catch up, you have to be really honest in terms of what area was I missing out on. Virgo season's not over yet. There's still some, some energy to go. What was I missing out on? Whatever emotional outburst, whatever dream that's coming through, Really ask yourself, does this make sense? Can I bring this down into my physical reality? Can I make sense out of this dream and illusion? Where did it come from? That's a major question that you have to ask yourself. Where did this imagination, where did this feeling come from? I don't even, why am I sad? You know, it's like, no, this shit sad didn't even really even happen to me. Why am I feel? Really allow yourself to ask that shit, because you'll be surprised at what you find. And then so the moon in Virgo, I mean the moon in Pisces is also making a trine to the south node in Scorpio, and in conjuncting Mercury in Libra. How do you think that's gonna hit us?
So as you're emotionally reacting fully out to your dreams, your illusion, imagination, getting lost in the dream world, you may not know how to manage what's happening in your subconscious realm as it happens in real time when it comes to your social life. Mercury and Libra, and then you got obviously you get this that's trying to the south node and Scorpio, giving you more ability to be emotionally fixated in certain dreams and illusion, or be serious about certain imagination that the full moon may bring up, but you may be very passive about it and things of that nature. So the South Node may help you detoxify out of these things, obviously, as the Sun is in Virgo, helping you
Mm-hmm.
practicalize and make sense out of these things too. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Helping you connect to those past aspects of those emotions that you're holding on to, those vulnerabilities that had led you into these situations, that had led you into that la la land, that had built up to that opening for sure.
but it's always gonna be almost like you piecing up what happened in the backs of your subconscious mind based
Mm-hmm.
upon what's happening and what someone said in this social situation, and why do you feel this way in this current moment, and then in conjunction you.
Mm-hmm. So really try and connect your emotions back to this stuff
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Mm-hmm. Back to that physical reality of what actually had happened, because you're really gonna get the keys to the sauce to make sense out of these
And
emotions.
remember, the sun is in Virgo. All this focus in your digestive system. So this is your point to like connect you with reality or anchor you, and so you don't get so
Mm-hmm.
floaty and things of that nature. But that relationship between Virgo and Pisces is very important on like a metaphysical level, but also physical level. Because a lot of you guys, or a lot of us, we don't understand how our skin eats from the external world. It utilizes sunlight and then it absorbs it in, which is important to give your digestive system the opposition of Pisces, what Virgo, what it needs so it could break down food. So Virgo focuses on
Mm-hmm.
eating internally, while Pisces helps you to eat almost like externally.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. For
This is
sure.
why all your body parts, they all influence each other, uh, in a very non-order way. It's not like how science explain it. Oh, the brain and nervous system says does this, does this, does that, and then this is how it affects the heart. It's vice versa. All these organs are fighting against each other on what do they want to do, and it looks like the process of life. But it's so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
successful. It looks like this, like you look normal.
I get what you mean. Um, like ordered chaos.
Exactly.
Interesting. Well, that's the energy of Friday. That's how Friday's looking. Saturday, the 10th, the full moon in Pisces, energy still going on, but now it's the conjunction to Neptune and Pisces while making a sextile to Uranus and Taurus. How do you think that's gonna
So
hit?
obviously you're getting deeper and deeper. You guys should always take notice to this when the
Yeah.
moon goes into Pisces, and then as it goes towards Neptune, you see how delusional or deep your subconscious gets and things of that nature. It's like a very interesting experience. And then with the sextile to Uranus and Taurus, you see all this opportunity based upon how you could utilize your belief system and what's happening in the external world, all the destructive situation. These could put you in certain moments and take you certain dreams. You could have, and you could utilize these dreams to see opportunity to fix these things in reality. It's almost like you seeing the stock market crash and you seeing this a prophetic moment like Ezekiel in the Bible and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very, very revealing of subconscious too. Like with moments like these, full moons like this, especially with the Neptune and Pisces, you'll fuck around and start getting mad at your first grade elementary school teacher and shit like that. Not even realizing that little snarky comment that she had said when you said you wanted to be an astronaut had led to a whole belief system that you had carried into this point on how you believe and creatively imagine. You're like, oh, I can't be an astronaut, or I can't imagine like that, and not even realize how that created all of those barriers and how you imagine um, and creatively planned for the future, and how you started to make sense out of things, and with the habits and daily routines that you had built, really going to connect with your belief structures and what you believe. Some things you can actually manifest, some things you can actually make sense out of, but you had told yourself that you couldn't, aka say you went through a lot of relationship struggles throughout your life, and you're like, I can't understand men, or I can't understand women. Based off of your experiences, this may be true where understanding was a lack of the problem, but that doesn't mean that you can't. But you had created that circumstance and that belief system. So all of a sudden, you keep on creating these situations that justify that because of those belief systems. Even though they're limiting belief systems and not matching up to actual reality of what actually makes sense because of those subconscious belief systems of the whole shit that Madame Blavitsky or whatever the shorty's name, the long titty, no nipple ass shorty teacher that you had in elementary school had told you, and that led to those beliefs that you had. So I believe you're gonna catch into a lot of your belief systems and how they equate to the real world, and if you really allow yourself to get into that spiritual space on Saturday, which I the whole full moon, really allow yourself to get into that spiritual space, and the more subtle aspects that are making up your reality,
Yeah,
you'll be cute clued into a
you
lot.
would actually also understand how certain illusions and dreams and imagination lead to certain practical habits instead of vice versa and things of that nature. But that itself is fucked up. Just imagine this: you receiving a dream and an illusion, and then you making this habit practical based off it. That's what like science is: backward thinking.
Exactly. Exactly. Backward thinking. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're so intelligent. Oh, we came up with this whole system. We came up with this new medicine. It was like, nigga, if you would have did this, if you don't do this every day, nigga, you don't even need the medicine. But it's like, nah, we have this belief system that led us to doing this every day. So nah, we need the medicine. It's like, nigga, stop doing that every day. But nah, now you're exalting that idea afterwards, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. For sure. So that's Saturday. Man, really let yourself get in touch with the spirit on Friday, Saturday, in this full moon. And it's not going to be a waste of time. You get into that meditative state. It's going to help you understand what you have been doing on a day to day. You're going to come out of that meditation. You're going to come out of those mindsets those day. Be like, oh shit, knowing what you got to do. Oh shit, I got to go work on this. Oh shit, I got to start doing this every day. Oh shit, this is where I'm missing out. I gotta go make sense out of this. I gotta go make this aspect of my dream real, or I have to go and test out to see if this illusion is real, or if this is actually an illusion. I have to go and test out and see all of that stuff. So really, you utilize that energy for sure,
100%.
and that's how Saturday's looking. On Sunday, uh, the 11th, September 11th, we have the moon conjuncting Jupiter and Chiron in Aries now. How do you think this
So this
plays
is the
out?
time for you to go to war from the dream world, since you're getting lost in your own dreams, illusions, imagination. And based upon what you're doing within your subconscious realm, this is gonna be the things you're gonna give light to, give birth to, and be aggressive about it. Since the moon falls in Aries, be a little bit selfish too. But you're having the trying to Lilith in Leo, so you may be, man. That's a lot of energy to also to approach this embarrassment that you've been dealing with in your stage of life, but it's coming from the perspective of Jupiter and Chiron in Aries, these experiences you've been developing so far with the individual, understanding yourself, and now with the moon conjunct Jupiter, Chiron, you're gonna know how to approach Lilith and Leo. And also you having this sextile to Mars in Gemini, giving you more abilities to know what to say and to speak more as you're imagining the right things or being passionate about the right things.
For sure. Um, I bet that's going to really help. Like especially with the square Mars was making with Gemini. You know, the energy that the moon and Aries is gonna give you to start sparking things for you to start fulfilling those emotional desires, and to, you know, to get things going. And then Jupiter is there and it's giving you the broad vision of all of that different types of shit. Mars and Gemini now is probably starting to understand or be able to communicate the energy of what was happening on the full moon a little bit better, now that you're starting to move forward with the energy, now that you're starting to look at it with new fresh eyes, that you're starting to focus your emotions on these new things and giving birth to things. For sure. And then the sun 19 is in 19 degrees
I
Virgo,
was gonna make.
making a trine, a close trine with Pluto and Capricorn.
So the sun right now
How do you think that plays out?
is right now in the position to connect with the trine to Pluto in Capricorn. So, but it's gonna be based upon all those laid back degrees, what you were doing, what practicality that you've been building on is gonna be the opportunities that be getting created with Pluto and Capricorn. So Pluto and Capricorn, you taking power and control of this, but how you gonna take power and control of your status, your structure, is gonna be based upon the details and the little things that make up the status, the business, and things of that nature. So this Virgo season, as
Yeah.
as the sun drives deeper and deeper into Virgo, and it hits the trine with Pluto and Capricorn, you also almost like you're getting the details, the steps, and then you hit the trine with Pluto and Capricorn. You're getting the energy that you need to take power and control. You found it that information that you require.
Yep, absolutely. I can see on the negative side too that trying to make it so much easier in terms of stability, since it's the earth energy, in terms of practicality, or feeling secure. I can see you being, because remember, Virgo's also being of service and how you work and cooperate with other people. I can see you being of service or cooperating with someone else's structure. Someone else's structure is taking power and control over your day to day routines and your day to day habits. And it'll happen like this, depending on what side of the spectrum if you're on. Depending if you wanted to, you're too afraid to jump into the Virgo bag, jump into the Capricorn bag with all of these planets in there and express it, and understand and move these energies around. You'll quickly start, oh, now you're working towards someone else's structure and stuff like that, and they're taking power control over you, or at least it feels that way. Where it could be a whole different thing. Like working for other people is not a bad thing, even though the way we be talking, maybe it will sound like that. It's not. It's all about the energy that's behind things. Whether you care about the structure that's being built, whether you're emotionally attached, whether you feel fulfilled. I bet there's some niggas in the world who feel fulfilled flipping fucking burgers. Like that's their shit, or that's the role, or at least the amount of responsibility that they can handle at the time. There's some niggas in the world that that's perfectly fine. They can be perfectly content, doing that type of shit. So it's not necessarily about that. It's about how you feel. Not saying that flipping burgers is bad or anything. All I'm saying is that you could be doing anything. It's about how you respond to that. Whether this is what you want to be of service to, whether you feel power and control is being taken of you. So that's the negative side of that energy, and you don't want to fall into that. So don't be scared to dive into that Virgo and in that analytical energy. Diving into trying to understand and comprehend the physical reality around you, your assets, and how you can best play into that physical aspect of the world, into the marketplace. How the best way you can enter the global marketplace and come out with what you need to survive.
It's almost like this manager who worked at this business for 30 years, but right now he wants to understand the business deeper. Like he wants to be part of the business. He doesn't want to be just the manager.
Yeah.
He wants shareholders. He wants a long term wealth. He wants to
Mm-hmm.
understand and see from what the Capricorn is doing. He doesn't want the details. He wants the reality of it. Saturn.
Exactly. Exactly. He's willing to move up, you know. He's not letting someone else's ambition take over his life and his daily routine. He sees the energy that's going on. He's like, "Nah, nigga, I need a piece of that for sure."
Which is kind of funny because all
Absolutely.
the documents that deal with like power, they made up of words and details. Virgo, but that was gives Capricorn the power, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. 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 Legit. Legit. That's funny. But yeah, that's how the week is looking. That's the energy of the week. If you fucked with the video, give us a like. Give us a subscribe. We're coming up with more content like that. Check out our Instagram, TrueSpace underscore. Check out our website, TrueSpace.biz. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Take care, guys.
Peace out, yo.